Hi, welcome to our unboxing video of the B-Wing, which is Wave 3 for Star Wars X-Wing miniatures. And if you are watching this, that means you are a fan of Cardboard Arcade, and that is okay with me. So, here is our lovely Mini, and I have to say, I suspect that that is the same shade of white that's on the X-Wing, but with the large surface area. God, that is a loud shade of white.
Okay, so as the slightly colorblind person in the room, I want to say it almost looks like desert camo toned down and bleached a little bit, and it looks really freaking cool. I don't think it necessarily is part of the Star Wars universe, but darn it, it looks nice.
Apply the colorblind filter to your monitor in 3, 2, 1.
Help, help, I'm colorblind.
Now return to your regularly scheduled color palette. So this is actually just a fairly big model. It's not as, it seems more imposing. Like that would be its height on the stand.
We can pull it out, I guess, if we want to. But
And that would imply effort needed. And it just feels like it's so much of a bigger field presence. I think just visually,
I was thinking if you could hand this to me outside the camera, that works.
visually, it might be more of an obvious target and thus draw aggro from the opponent.
So you're saying that, you know, it's like the... Well, okay, I guess, but I don't think the kind of opponent that says, ooh, that looks pretty, I'm going to shoot it, is the one you're really worried about.
It's not really pretty, but it's really present. And kids, you can't use one stick with this. You have to go the full distance.
When in doubt, use the whole stick.
So for all of you that like to have a uniform fleet of rebel ships that are only on one peg, sorry.
Now,
just look how big that is. That stands as tall as the fire spray almost.
Now, I do think, like, just what I read online, I think this is going to be a ship that has a variety of roles, but I think it's going to have a presence on the field. I don't think you can be able to ignore this one.
I played the old X-Wing flight simulators when I was a kid and all the way through till they stopped producing them. And as a bit of canon for me, I like that they modeled the cockpit in the right way, because I've seen other models with it where the cockpit is still facing the side, like it's flying like this, and that's only how it is when the S-foils are closed. So it had an overly complicated folding system because they had German engineers.
Well, just to know that the S-foil system was there so it could be stored easily on a carrier, I'm kind of like, wish it was folded on this just so I could store it easily in a box, because it'd be really cool just to have a line of these.
That's fair.
So storage might be a non-issue or an issue, but I just think it'd be really cool if you could store them like they were on a fireplane in the first place.
That's fair. So let's take a look. What are some of our basic stats on the rookie B-Wing pilots here?
Rookie B-Wing pilot is Attack 3, which is to be expected. This was an attack fighter bomber, a dodge of 1, but it has a good amount of shields, 5 and 3 hulls. So I think this is going to be kind of the upgraded Y-Wing role in this sense, that it's going to be a bigger tank for not much more.
It's got the extra firepower over the Y-Wing, but I think damage capacity-wise, it's about the same. 5 and 3 seem familiar.
I thought it was the other way around. So I think 5 as a shield.
Oh, that could be it, right.
And with as bad as crits get, I think 5 shield is a bit of an advantage because you're not worried about crits for longer.
That's true. The Y-Wing was awesome with the droid that could repair all the damage. All right, fair enough. I stand corrected. However, he does weigh in at 22 points for a skill 2, which is like 1 point shy of a rookie X-Wing.
I think a rookie X-Wing was 21, and that meant you could put him with a proton torpedo and have 4 of those, because that's how I remember that number.
Okay, so starting off, he gets 2 torpedo slots, which is pretty much to be expected from a bomber, and he's got 1 cannon slot, because I believe that's the same symbol that came on the fire spray.
There's an ion cannon, and I think the last one is the advanced systems options, which come with this wave there, and I think that's going to be the card that makes this really awesome in the end.
Looks like we've got, oh, just the 1. Okay, so before we get into what the heck is that new upgrade slot?
That's one that I think is going to make this the hunter-killer of the whole deck there. So fire control systems, after you perform an attack, you may acquire a target on the defender. So that means that if I'm going to be shooting with a missile or a proton torpedo, I'm going to get that target lock right back. And if it means I'm shooting with a regular weapon, or like a heavy laser cannon that doesn't need a target lock, I can still get those target locks right back. There's going to be no reason not to use them.
So perpetual motion but target locks.
Yeah. So I think I can see this being in the spot where if I can get into something's blind spot like a Lambda, I could just pound it into the dirt unless I've got some sort of fighter backup.
For 2 points, that's pretty rad. So you've just made the B-Wing so much more action efficient with 2 points alone. Now he doesn't have to choose, do I want to do the target lock, or do I want to get the focus, or in this case, one of the first Rebel ships to be able to do a barrel roll.
I think it is the first, isn't it?
That's true. A-Wing only had boost.
Okay. And barrel roll is going to be really big for keeping tight formations, especially with the new support classes, or getting into position. Because you can move forward and backward with those. Essentially, you can turn that one forward into half a forward. And that's going to be, like I said, if you can get in the right spot behind the right ship, like a Lambda, I think you could just pound on all day without being any chance you're getting shot at.
Let's see what kind of fancy pilots we've got here. So you've got your 2 basic rookies, skill 2, skill 4. So what do some of the specialists do?
All right, so we got skill 6. We have, I don't know how to pronounce that. That's a very, very little pronunciation from the Star Wars universe. Okay, Ash George.
She was part of Rogue Squadron.
Oh.
She fought at the Battle of Endor in a B-Wing.
The more you know.
Okay, so on that note, on one of the lore things, so I'm sorry for the lore freaks out there because I know that I'm not that good at names in the first place, but attacking or defending, if you have at least 1 stress token, you may roll 1 of your dice. So that means if I'm being attacked, I can re-roll a dice. If I'm being shooting, I can re-roll a dice. I think that's going to be huge.
You were already a fan of Push the Limit to begin with.
I am. I am a very, very big fan of Push the Limit, so I think this ship has Push the Limit designed into it. Because now that I have the ability to keep that target lock forever, okay, I can barrel roll the Heart's Content and have plenty of focus. And that's going to come in big when we talked about the previously said advanced proton torpedoes. Because you're not going to have to worry about the 2 things. You could just launch whenever you need to.
I just want it to be known that this artwork is correct, and these are not. The cockpit is rotated off to the side. So this is just me being nitpicky.
Now, okay.
I'm going to pause there really quick. Actually, all of them are correct because the cockpit of the B-Wing
rotates to maintain the correct position because that way the thing rotates around him. It can be in any orientation.
That is correct, sir.
All my lore comes from a video game.
The whole point of that design was that the center of mass will rotate around the cockpit so you don't move as the pilot. The pilot ship moves around you. And that's why it had such high maintenance values, and that's why it took so long to keep them in the fleet.
And because of the big blade design, they also took up more room on the carrier, so they were never as space efficient as the other fighters.
Well, but the reason that the blade design is there is so it can fold straight and be stored better. That is the reason for the design, storage. So you could literally have racks of them hanging like in your closet and just shoot them out the. Okay. They may as well be like the Nerf little discs that you shoot out. That you would get them out quickly and you could store them in tight spaces.
Say something clever.
That's what your wife said last night.
Hey-oh!
All right, who am I holding?
You're holding 10 Num. Otherwise, your wife. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so 10 Num. 10 Num is B-Wing. He's our high pointer here. When attacking, one of your crit results cannot be canceled by defense dice.
Ooh.
Now, okay, that sounds really cool, and we know that crits have huge game-changing abilities. But I have to say, I'm not nearly as excited about that as I'm on my 6-point pilot.
Maybe, but think of it this way. You're trying to hit an interceptor with stealth device, so that's 4 dice minimum that he's rolling to evade, and then say maybe you're at range 3. So the only way that that interceptor can avoid a crit and the stealth device getting disabled is by using an evade token.
Yeah, that seems to happen so often, though. I don't think of many cases where I would definitely make that a game changer. Like, it seems like you have to either get through the hit device and cancel those first, so that only would become effective if your interceptor has an evade token he wasn't going to use already, okay, and he didn't have other hits to back him up first.
Right, so long as there's no evade token on the interceptor, and you roll a crit, one of those is getting through, regardless of dice rolled.
But that seems like such a specific instance that I don't see it being an every game kind of thing.
I could
Especially
see
not
it.
for 31 points.
Combine this with Proton Torpedo,
Okay.
which already makes crits out out of some of the focuses.
Okay. Well, you're talking about a 35-point ship. You've committed yourself to a 3-ship build.
True, but this will get through some of those really high agility guys and bring them down to your level for the rest of your ships to start actually adding the weight of their fire.
Okay, but at that point value, I'm thinking having several other even X-Wings or rookie squads where you'll hit that 3 so many times, you're just going to have to get enough dice going there. So it might work out, especially with Chris, but I don't see that cost being that exciting.
One of these days we're going to do a video of that.
You know what? It could happen, okay?
But
we can see if he can actually bring down Soontir Fel.
I'm kind of excited for this, just to get insane 5 evade dice ships down to a manageable level. So what do we have to work with here? So the proton torpedo is not new at all.
Not new, it's known. We talked about the
comes with an advanced proton torpedo, so it's mirroring its TIE bomber counterpart.
See, I think we mentioned that in the other video, but I think it's worth mentioning right now just how much damage that can do in this case.
That's true.
So we have the situation we talked about where if you have a target locked to spend, okay, and you have a focus, we're rolling 5 dice and you can turn all 3 of those blank results to focuses. That means basically 3 free hits. They're not necessarily the crits of the regulars, but that's a lot of damage. And we talked with the advanced systems, you can have all the target locks you want all the time. I think this is going to be a much better weapon delivery system than the TIE Bomber in this case.
Yeah. Because unlike the Bomber, it does have more survivability due to shields, and it also has that barrel roll for that clutch get into the firing arc at the last minute.
But for 2 points, this is no longer a, I need multiple turns to set up delivering that. I can just deliver it when I want to. And also the range 1 is going to be really easy to get into with the barrel roll and specific things like that.
Yep. Okay, and we've got 2 possibly new things, although I have a feeling this ion cannon already arrived with the fire spray.
I think it did, so that's an ongoing thing, and that's kind of a dumbed-down version of the ion turret, so...
Right, so fixed forward only. Sorry, guys.
Okay, but I think the Auto Blaster is new for this one.
Nope, that's brand spanking new. What's she do?
The Auto Blaster, attack equals attack 1 ship. Your hit results cannot be canceled by defense dice. The defender may cancel crit results before hit results. So this seems like kind of, okay, maybe with 10 num we have 2 situations where we can't cancel dice. So in these cases here, okay, that's a combination where my hits stay no matter what.
One of his crits will get through. The others can be canceled.
So one of his crits will get through.
And then whatever hits that remain.
All gets through. So when you're rolling 3 dice, that's a very reliable damage dealer right there.
This costs how much?
5 and 31, so okay, we're at a 36-point ship off the bat here.
This could very easily be half your fleet if you deck him out with some torpedoes too.
Well, metagame, I can see him becoming a big thing when you get to the people that casually do 200-point games, because he's a lot of points, but I think he can dominate a battlefield.
And by now, a lot of people have enough ships that you can start easily getting into that points cost without having to buy the most expensive guy in every ship class.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to get fine, but you can actually build really small fleets that have high point costs.
So overall, this ship didn't come with a whole lot of cards to it compared to some of the others in this wave. But I think what he brings to the field is that extra flexibility that maybe we haven't seen before.
And on that note, okay, just thought at the moment, like I talked about engine upgrades so we get that boost going here. So I'm thinking her, I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay, I'm thinking that we can have my push the limit so I can get that stress token there to get those extra bonuses. And if I stick the boost and the barrel roll on that, I can beach to about anywhere I want to be. And that's going to be huge for avoiding firing arcs, for getting into firing arcs. And if we eventually come out with 2 more points for that pretty much instant target lock on anything, that can be a reliable damage dealer.
And that could be interesting. What sort of maneuverability are we talking about with this ship to begin with? What's the movement dial look like?
That's a good question. I think we're somewhere... Oh, actually, we've got a really interesting one here.
Hello!
So I think I've heard about this one online, but now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, okay, that's a 2K turn. So if I want to turn around, it's going to be a really short distance, and that's 2 base links there. So that's going to be really interesting for the cases where somebody's trying to fly right past you. So for all those of you Top Gun fans, this might be the ship to try to finally pull that maneuver off and hit the brakes and let somebody fly right by.
That's also a really great way to deal with someone that's tailing you. And best case scenario, they bump into you on their movement and they're not able to shoot at you anymore.
That might be big with the low pilot skill ones, especially if you've got Vader tailing you. You can completely turn that move around. and that'll be interesting in that sense. And you'd force them to make the big K turn to get back there.
There was a lot of red on there, in places that I didn't expect it. However...
Well, it seems like you have very extreme maneuvering choices at cost, and especially for ships that benefit from stress token, that might be a good thing.
At higher speeds, he's not very flexible. He doesn't have a hard 3, and the soft 3s that he can turn, the light banks,
yeah,
those are all red.
So I think this is going to be, to be an analogy, like this is going to be your attack helicopter. He's not going to move very big, but he's going to be a force where he is.
You know, this seems to be a bit of a theme with the Rebels this wave, where neither ship is exceptionally fast. Sorry, spoilers for you if you haven't seen the Hawk video yet. So they're both slow and methodical, and you really have to put a lot of thought into your positioning. You don't have the K-turn, get out of jail or sticky situation free card here. Except you have this really bizarre turn on a dime.
We'll have to look back later at some point. I want to see how close these match up, because maybe the two are meant to fly together.
Fair. Overall, this is a pricey ship, no doubt about it, as far as in-game cost goes, but if it can be pulled off right, I think that this could be a really huge asset. And plus, it's just, aside from, this is always one of the more iconic ships. Like, everyone thinks of the X-Wing, but as far as crazy just ship design, this really took the cake and stands out there as a kind of just a strong visual presence in my eyes.
Yeah, I think it's one every kid sees and they're like, okay, what is that one? Because like the A-Wing looks like an A, and the Y-Wing looks like a Y, and the X-Wing looks like X, but what's the B-Wing thing looking like? Yeah, apparently it stood for Blade Wing, but I think that had to come about as like a retcon of the original lore. Yeah, like parsecs, but
All right, well, thank you for watching our B-Wing unboxing, and make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to stay abreast of all of the latest videos coming out of Cardboard Arcade, and check over on the related ones for the other ships that came out this wave.
Okay, we got one more coming, and we're looking forward to it. So thanks again for watching.
Later.